is and how it works. I'm Amy Rowan, Streamworks Marketing Director. Streamworks is an integrated marketing communications company that helps clients leverage data to produce campaigns that increase response. Many of you know us as a printing, mailing, and fulfillment company, which is still true. But as you know, the internet has changed the marketplace drastically in the last 5 years, and our clients have been asking us for help to make sense of it all. That's why, in the last year and a half, we've added expert resources in areas like branding, integrated marketing strategy, and website development, just to name a few. Our number one goal is to give clients the tools and tactics that put them in front of the people who want and need their products or services. So, in today's webinar, you'll learn what inbound marketing is and why it works, and steps you can take to integrate it into your marketing efforts right now. Okay, so before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. We are recording today's presentation. You'll automatically receive a copy of the recording tomorrow in an email from GoToWebinar, so make sure you don't delete it. On your screen, you should see the meeting panel, which has a place to enter your questions. We'll be monitoring the questions as we go, and we'll save time for a Q&A at the end. And we'll also keep the webinar under an hour as promised. But we'll stay on the line as long as needed to answer everyone's questions, and all those questions will be in the recording, so feel free to jump off if you need to. So with that, let me introduce our presenter. Stacia Shinneberry is Streamworks Integrated Marketing Director and a 25-year veteran of the direct marketing industry. She's a problem solver and consultant who specializes in helping clients squeeze every drop of profit from their customer and prospect databases by using integrated direct marketing strategies and tactics. At Streamworks, she focuses on driving traffic, leads, and sales for clients through inbound marketing efforts including website development, social media, blogging, drip marketing, surveys, and email marketing. And with that, I will turn it over to Stacia.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you could join us today. Today will be the first in a series of monthly educational webinars that we will be hosting. You'll receive an email each month notifying you of the topics as well as the date and time of the next webinar. You can also check periodically the homepage of our website, and there's a webinar button. You can register off the website as well. Okay, so for today, here's what we're going to cover. The difference between traditional outbound marketing and inbound marketing. We're going to talk about what inbound marketing is and why it works, some of the challenges and strategies for inbound marketing, how it works, and what tools we need to use for inbound marketing. So let's start with the difference between inbound marketing and traditional marketing. You know, research shows, you can read it, 89% of people are searching online before they make a purchase. It's so true. In the last 3 to 5 years, really everything has changed. Having an online presence used to be kind of a nice-to-have thing. You wanted a website so people could look you up and see that you had credibility. But today, and really in the last year or so, an online presence is an absolutely must-have. You've got to be there or you're going to lose out to your competition, because I guarantee they're on the web. Okay, so to be clear with definitions, when I say traditional outbound marketing, we're talking TV, radio, outdoor, direct mail, telemarketing, newspapers, magazines. All of those things are what I mean when I say traditional marketing. Sure, it's very hard to track traditional marketing, as you know. You could use a special phone number, you could use a fictitious person's name, special offers that are tied just to that media, but really it's very hard to track, and you're really sending a message out to people who you have no idea if they're interested in your product or service or not, let alone if they are they ready to buy? And really, inbound marketing is all about driving traffic to your website so you can collect prospect information and then be able to market to those people. There's really two ways to reach consumers today online. First of all, you have to get found. When they go to Google and search, you need to be up on that first page when Google serves it up to them. Second, you need to understand who your buyers are and what information they're looking for so you can position yourself as the go-to expert in your industry. You want to be the source when they are looking for information. You need to provide relevant educational material they need that'll help them move from a suspect through a prospect to an actual customer. So we're going to talk about the triangle today, the philosophy, which is the why, the methodology, which is the how, and the tool set, which is the blueprint or the tactics you need to do inbound marketing. Okay, so let's talk about how it works. When we say the philosophy, we're talking about how differently consumers buy today. They are in control, they are self-educated, and they already know what they need when they're ready to purchase it. They're just not sure who are they going to buy it from yet. So let's look at the differences and what's changed. All traditional media basically would try to interrupt you. They want you to stop what you're doing and watch the TV commercial, look at the billboard, listen to the radio ad. They basically were uninformed and had to believe what your salesperson told them because it was hard to get other information or be able to search competition, things like that. Today, really, they're very well informed thanks to the internet. Their journey usually starts with a Google search, and you need to be really in the right place at the right time with the right information in order to attract them. So why are things so different? There's three major reasons, and let's talk about that. The media landscape is just insanely cluttered today. People wanted, over time people have wanted a more targeted approach. So TV expanded and went to, look at how many cable stations there are. Radio stations were breaking out into niche audiences. They were talking specifically to different niche audiences. And of course there's tons of very specialized trade publications and gazillions, gazillion, is that a word? Gazillions of websites for every interest you might have. So the media landscape really grew over time. I have a slide here. Let's see how it grew. If you'll look, print starting in 1472 up to 1922 with the newspapers, posters, catalogs, magazines, 450 years it took for that type of media. Then the pre-digital age was from 1922 to 1970, so it took about 48 years for radio, TV, direct mail, and telemarketing. But in the last 20 years, look at the spread here. We started with email and banner ads. We went to YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and mobile apps. I mean, it has just blown up in the last 20 years. So not only has media grown by type, but also by volume. In 1920, there was one radio station, and in 2011, there were 14,700 radio stations. Look at this, 12 broadcast TV stations, and in 2011, over 1,700. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Over 15 years ago, people heard or saw about 3,000 messages a day, and today, at any given moment on your Facebook feed, there's 1,500 stories vying for your attention. So, I mean, it has just really blown up. And really, everything has changed so fast, they couldn't keep up with regulations. Regulating how fast things were growing and what all these different media outlets were has been a huge challenge. Basically, nobody believes advertising anymore. Anything you did that was clever, people just are very skeptical. They think you're making false claims. And in fact, see, there 3 to 5 times they want to hear from you before 63% of consumers actually believe you. So why do you think that is? It's because everything has changed. You know, people got tired of all the interruptions and started skipping the commercials. Look at false claims, over-promising, under-delivering. With no regulation, basically, people could say anything they wanted to. And then think how many people sue other people these days. I mean, everyone is kind of sue happy. So those things changed. And then all of a sudden, people realized they didn't have to believe what they heard on the TV or radio, but they could go to the computer, do their own research, and not that everything on the computer and on the internet is true either, but when they were ready and wanted to look for a product or service, they could do their own research, and that empowered them. So what else has changed? Of course, VCRs, caller ID, DVRs, we're recording our shows and skipping all of those TV commercials. There are do not call lists. Remember when you used to do the broadcast faxing and broadcast emails? Well, that's spamming now. You can't do either of those things anymore. And then with smartphones coming along, I mean, most people do everything on their smartphone today. And with websites and social media, a lot of people had to stay in their geographic area to market their products or services before the internet came along. Now your website and your social media posts can be seen anywhere in the world. So your marketing area has expanded quite drastically. The thing you need to do is get permission from people to talk to them. The goal here is you really want to, with inbound marketing, you really want to drive traffic to your website. You want to turn those visitors into leads for you by collecting their name and email address. You want to convert those leads into qualified prospects. You want to get them qualified, and then you want to sell them, turn them into customers. And of course, once you have them as customers, you always want to upsell them and cross-sell them and resell them and get referrals from them. You want your customers to love you so much, they become your advocate. They become your unpaid salesperson out there sending referrals to you and telling people how fabulous you are. All that's going to do is help drive revenue and increase your ROI. Okay, so now that we've talked about outbound traditional marketing challenges and what has changed over time, let's talk about inbound strategies that are working today. This is a list, and I'm going to talk about each of these individually: the multi-channel presence, integration, content, life cycle, and personalization. Let's hit each one of them individually. With a traditional marketing mix, you're used to doing TV and radio and newspaper and direct mail and having kind of an integrated approach. This is the same thing I'm talking about, except now you need to add in the online forms of advertising. A perfect example is a customer that has a home improvement business, and they spend about $500,000 a year on traditional advertising trying to get free estimates, have people call in to get free estimates for their home improvement products or services. Well, what's happening today that never happened before is someone sees the TV ad or hears the radio ad, and they immediately go to this company's website. they start searching around and doing research on the website. They perhaps look at the competitors, competitive products. They might read consumer reports. And then once they see it's legitimate and they've done their research and they know they're interested, then they'll call and set for their free estimate. But guess what they say when the operator says, "How did you hear about us?" They say, "I was on your website." Even though it did start with traditional media, started with TV, radio, newspaper, they are saying, "I started on your website." Without a website, you would actually be in some pretty big trouble. And if you look at these numbers, 2.7% lift just going from straight print to print, email, landing pages, and mobile. It really, the integrated multi-channel approach is really getting people a much higher return on their investment. So really, again, it's all about publishing the right content at the right place at the right time. You can ask your customers through a survey, through a number of different methods, how do you want to be communicated with? And it's amazing. If you ask them, they'll tell you. Do you want email? Do you want direct mail? Do you want to sign up to receive our newsletter? Do you want to subscribe to our blog? How about if you follow us or we connect on social media? You want to connect with them in as many places as possible because you're trying to build and strengthen the relationship you have with those customers and prospects. And, you know, one size doesn't fit all. Integration is very, very vital. So let's talk a little about content creation. It's all about educating your prospects and customers. It's not that you're trying to sell them something. You're educating them. If you think about what are the frequently asked questions that you hear every day and how you answer those questions, if you think about what pain are those customers and prospects in and how can your product or service help them solve that pain, what's keeping them up at night, those are the things you need to talk to them about. You need to answer their questions before they even ask them. A perfect example is I have a alarm company, security company, and they had a retailer who was opening a new store, and they were scared to death. Their pain was, oh my gosh, this security system is not going to be set up in time for my grand opening. So what he did was he actually wrote an email and said, you know what, I bet some of you are worried about having your system set up in time for your grand opening. Let me tell you a story of how I helped one of my customers. They were a big electronics retailer. They were on a tight deadline. Their current provider couldn't help them, and we swooped in and ended up on time and on budget. It's kind of a case study that he told about someone that had that same pain or that same problem. That's the way you can communicate and educate people while still bringing to light how great your products and services are. Then when we talk about life cycle marketing, we're going to talk a little more about it in a minute, but basically, you're going to take somebody from being a stranger, you don't know them, they contact you, maybe they visit your website, they meet you at a trade show or a networking event, or maybe they walk in your store. They become a lead and they take some action, depending on how you have it set up, to qualify themselves. Then you turn them over to the salespeople, you sell them, get them on board, make sure you deliver on your promises, and you wow them. You want to obviously, again, upsell, cross-sell, resell. They need to love you so they can help promote your company. And, you know, if they have had a bad experience or someone leaves your company or maybe a new person takes over a job and they don't know about your company, they don't know you've helped them in the past, they become a lapsed customer, and you also need to be speaking to those people. That's part of the life cycle as well, reactivating the people that you've lost. Whether it's direct mail or email, you've got to personalize as much as possible because it does increase your response rate 35%. People want to feel like you know them, you understand them, and you're speaking directly to them. A good example is I went to a summit, kind of a conference summit a couple weeks ago, and the night before the event, I send out invitations to all of the speakers. There were a lot of speakers at this event. I tried to connect to all of the speakers at the event, and I went on their social media, followed them on Twitter, liked their Facebook page, followed them on their YouTube channel, made a connection with them, and they immediately, to my surprise, said, yes, I accept, I accept, I accept. The next day, it was amazing because I was walking around and people kept coming up to me saying, oh my gosh, you linked with me on LinkedIn last night. I recognize your face. Thanks so much. It started a conversation, and then I was able to send them a series of emails after the conference talking to them about what partnership opportunities we had together. So personalizing, getting to know people works great. Really, we're talking about building trust, getting rid of all that skepticism, making sure you're talking to them in the channel they want to be talked to. Of course, you want them to love you, and you definitely need to outsmart, not outspend your competition. Okay, so how does all this work together? The basic premise, the methodology is you need to attract them, convert them, close them, and delight them. So let's talk about each of these stages. All right, so this is your sales funnel, and you start out with trying to get traffic, or you've got these strangers. You don't know them, they don't know you, and you have to somehow drag them over to your website so they find out that you even exist. They visit your website, you attract them, they visit your website, and they become a visitor. Then, and we'll talk about it, through identifying themselves on the website, giving you their email address, they convert from a visitor to a lead. Then, when they're ready to buy, you close them, and they become customers, and once they become customers, to me, they're always a one-time buyer or a trier buyer, and you have to really delight them. You have to keep your promises. You have to deliver what you say you're going to deliver, and then you can get them to become promoters because they're very happy with your product or service, and they're very happy with you. So along the left, you'll see those methodologies. Someone out there is interested in your product or service, but we don't know who they are, and we don't know when they're going to be ready to buy, so we definitely need to start a conversation. The things on the right side are the tactics you will use to accomplish those things on the left. And let's talk about them one at a time. So let's go through the list of tactics for each stage of the buying cycle. So to attract someone to your website, you need to do blogging, social media, keyword optimization, and website pages. I'm going to talk about all of those specifically in just a moment. Then, once you get them to your site, in order to get them to identify themselves, you need to have calls to action, also called CTAs, tied to a landing page or form, and all of those people need to flow into your contact database. You need a centralized CRM or database where all of your leads can be kept and managed. When they're ready to buy, how do you know that? How do you know when it's time to involve your salesperson? We're going to talk about this lead scoring, email, marketing automation in just a second. And once you've sold them, have you onboarded them correctly? Have you welcomed them? Have you told them, hey, if you need customer service, contact this person. And if you need technical service, contact that person. Especially if you've got great salespeople that are fabulous closers, sometimes they'll get buyer's remorse. And that'll allow competition to swoop in and say, hey, are you sure you made the right decision? You want to immediately start talking to them and let them know, yes, in fact, they did make the right decision to select your company to buy the product or service that they have. You need to definitely keep communicating with them because you also want positive reviews and, again, those referrals. Okay, so let's look at each of those individual tactics one at a time. First of all, blogging. When I first heard of blogging, I didn't understand it. I didn't know how it worked or why it worked, and I know a lot of people feel that way, but seriously, blogging works. So let's see what a blog page looks like. This is our website, and this is our blog page. Typically, you've got categories that they can select by. You have an archive of past blog posts, and then, you talk about different products or services in this blog. And again, it needs to be educational. You're not really trying to sell something, and you should make it fun. Adding pictures, adding videos, adding links to other websites. The funner you can make it, the better off you are. Is funner a word? I'm not sure. So let's look at the stats. 55%. Would you like 55% more website visitors? Blogging drives traffic to your website, and that's what you want to get. Inbound links mean other people outside your company linking to your website. That helps with your search engine optimization, your SEO. And indexed pages also helps. We're talking about the Google search right here on indexed pages. And who doesn't want 126% more leads? So even if you start with just once a week, blogging once a week, and grow in frequency from there, you will definitely notice a jump in your website traffic. And if you offer several different products or services, maybe you have, like my alarm guy has commercial customers and then he has residential customers. So when he posts blog posts, he either might want 2 separate blogs, or every other week he might want to speak to commercial, and every other week he might want to talk about a residential concern. You need to mix it up so that you keep all the different segments of your customer or prospect database interested in what you have to say, and if you can get them to subscribe to your blog, that's even better. But blogging isn't the only thing. Social media also works. Here's a sample of our Facebook company page. You need a company page on the different platforms. Every company is going to be different. If you're a B2B, you sell B2B, you are going to want to be on LinkedIn. You're going to want to have your profiles looking good. You're going to want to have the company page. You're going to want to join some groups and start getting involved. Business to consumer, Facebook, Google+, Twitter works for both. You just have to really see what your company does and what makes sense for your particular marketplace. And then there are some tricks to it. You have to kind of know what you're doing. Obviously, Twitter, you have fewer characters. There are different times of day that work for different platforms. There are different strategies for each of the different platforms. Maybe you want to do some Facebook advertising. So you probably need a little help if you have no experience with it, because there are some proven methods to get great response with social media. And then keeping your website fresh. Most people think this is a one and done kind of thing, and it is absolutely not. Your website is a work in progress that is never done. I mean, the rules of the game keep changing. Just when you think you have everything figured out, Google will change their algorithm, and you have to retool your entire strategy. Today, Google's hot thing is they want to serve up people searching in their search engine the freshest, most relevant content available. They want to look good to those people searching, so anything new and fresh and relevant, you're going to rise to the top of the search if you're providing that information and providing it consistently. Another reason to be on a regular schedule with posting to your blog, posting to your social media. So converting visitors into leads, let's talk about some of these tactics. A CTA, or a call to action, typically is a button on your website, and it's things like, it's basically free stuff. What can I give you for free that's so valuable you'll give me at least your email address? The more valuable the information is, the more information they'll give you. You've got a great white paper on a hot topic, they'll give you their name, their title, their company, their phone number, their email, and even ask 2 or 3 survey questions. You also need different offers for each stage in your sales funnel. So at the top of the funnel where the strangers are, you might want to offer, let's say you're a mover. Maybe you want to offer a tip list on things you need to think about if you're considering moving. Okay? That's something that might attract someone for that product or service. Obviously, there's some interest in moving or they wouldn't be on your website. Then as they move down and get qualified, get more to the middle of the funnel, maybe you need to offer questions to ask when selecting a mover. How about that? Because in the middle of the funnel, they know they're going to move, and right now they're evaluating the different companies and deciding who to use. So that'd be a great thing. Let's see, what do I need to ask when I'm selecting a mover? And then at the bottom, they're ready to buy. Maybe they need a checklist of everything you need to do when you're moving so you don't forget anything. Those different offers have to be at the different stages of your funnel. Not everything is going to apply. Again, the one-size-fits-all doesn't work. You have to talk to them where they are in the buying process. So when I say CTA, these are the buttons. Webinar, today's webinar's on here, a free website assessment, request a quote, 10 things you need to know about online marketing. Traffic on your site is great, but if you don't have a way to collect the information, how are you going to market to these people? If you have 7,000 people for traffic, but you are only getting 20 leads, it's because you need some calls to action, and you need to be able to identify those people, and you got to give them some good stuff in order to get that information. Okay, so let me show you on the next slide how this works. Here on our website, this is the landing page. Some people call it the form page, the jump page, the splash page. There's a million names, but this is a landing page. You push the button and said, yes, I want to request the 10 things you need to know about online marketing, and you're immediately taken to this landing page. You fill out your information, hit request now. It's going to send you a thank you email with your download, and it's going to pop up a box saying, hey, check your email. We just sent you what you asked for. So really, you got to use the forms to get people to convert into leads. And it's important, once you collect those leads, to get everybody in one centralized database. Most people use some type of a CRM system, a contact management system. Their salespeople are in it. It's tracking all the activity, all the interaction you have You're scheduling your calendar, you're scheduling follow-up calls, and you know when they've opened your email, they know when they've connected with you on social media. You really need one centralized place to keep track of everything. This is a sample just of our report from our CRM, and if you look, you can see, gosh, they signed up for the lifecycle marketing form, they signed up for the 6 marketing mistakes, they opened the email. You can check their behavior so that you know who you should and shouldn't be spending more time with. And then these are the things that help you close the deal. A lead scoring system is a point system that helps you understand who's the most valuable prospect and who should you spend the most time with. So the more they interact with you, the more points they get. If they've connected with you on Facebook or Twitter, if they've opened your last 3 emails, if they've come to your website and downloaded several calls to action, those people are going to be hot, and they're the ones that are going to be ready to speak to your sales team. You want your sales team to be the most efficient, and you don't want them talking to people that are just tire kickers. This is another report that would come out of your marketing automation tool, and many people use different names. Marketing automation is interchangeable for a number of different things people call, but it really is a software package that takes the manual process, just like it says, it automates the marketing process for you. This is a report. It's tied to your website, so you can see on any given day how many people came in, download your calls to action, and you can click on the button and see who those people are and look in their history and see what your relationship with them looks like. All right, the next tactic that really works is email. And I wanted to put this slide in here because there's a lot of confusion. If I ask somebody if they're doing drip or nurture marketing, they think they are, but actually what they're doing is a one-time sending a one-off email, sending an email blast, or maybe they're sending out a monthly newsletter. The 3 are drastically different. An email blast and a newsletter are really about your company. They're going to have graphics, they're going to have color, they're going to be pretty. Maybe an email blast is going to say, hey, we're having 50% off, or hey, we're launching a new product or service. You're going to get more of an immediate response to it. A newsletter, you're giving them information about what's new, what's hot, top customers, calendar of events, those types of things. Nurture marketing is totally, totally different. It is where you set up a series of emails, and it depends on the sales cycle of your product or service. If your sales cycle is typically 6 months, then you want to set up a series of emails, maybe 6, 8, 10 emails that'll be sent out periodically, triggered by some type of event, like they came to your website or you met them at a trade show, and it will send out to keep you in contact with those people. A huge problem is that companies rely on their salespeople to do all of the follow-up, and they assume that that's happening, when really people get sick, people get busy, they get pulled in other directions. You want to make sure your company is talking to these people consistently on a regular basis with a consistent look and feel and message. And then, well, what if they fill out a form but they're not ready to become a customer? Again, this is a perfect opportunity for you to do the drip marketing campaign that we were just talking about. Here's a sample of what a drip looks like. It is not pretty. It is not colorful. It does not have graphics. It is in black and white. Well, this is blue, but typically in black and white. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and if you notice the underlined words, those are links back to our website. we're making offers, request a free lead generation assessment, and we're driving them to specific places on our website that we want them to get more information. There are many ways, before I go on, there are many different types of drip marketing campaigns, many different reasons or events that might trigger a drip marketing campaign, sending them a series of emails. Maybe you're getting ready, like I went to the conference. Maybe you send out a pre-trade show drip of 3 or 4 messages saying, save the date, please know that my booth is here, maybe we can set up a chance to grab some coffee. You go to the event, you either meet them or you don't meet them, and after the event, over the next 6 weeks, you set up a series of emails to talk to them about the products or services they may have been interested in, which is why they came to the trade show in the first place. Networking events are great. Some of you do product demos, you send out proposals, you get new customers. All of those things are great reasons to start them on a drip. Those are events that would trigger them. Maybe they come to your website and sign up for your newsletter or download a CTA, and that is what will start them on a drip. I have a perfect story. I have a customer who was in the construction business, and he was hiring a new administrative assistant. And so he was basically out of pocket for about 2 days. And he wasn't really reading his email. He wasn't listening to his voicemail. He was just super focused on getting her up to speed. Well, somebody came to his website and clicked on his request a quote button, filled out what he wanted. Well, luckily, and actually this was the first drip marketing campaign we had set up for him, the next day the man received his first drip email. So he thought my customer was talking to him. Then 2 days later, he got another email. So then when my customer went back to his computer and saw the activity and saw the request for a quote, he was like, oh my gosh, and he called the guy right away. And the guy said, hey, thanks so much for talking to me and emailing me, but I really need to get that quote. So it completely saved him. He didn't fall through the cracks. He didn't go into that dark hole that we all know exists. He actually was able to get a $25,000 sale off of that lead, and that drip marketing campaign really saved him. Okay, so really the moral of the story is the more you know, the better you can target your content, and the more you know about the people, the more you can personalize and make them feel special. We talked about this. A marketing automation tool is the software that automates your marketing, and it needs to be hooked to your contact management, your CRM system, which needs to be hooked to your website. The 3 tools need to work seamlessly together to make everything a fabulous, automated process. Don't leave anything to a person to possibly mess up. And then the tools that will delight. Again, nurture marketing. They become a customer, you keep talking to them. As a company, don't rely on the salespeople to have to do it all. Keep talking to them. Let them know they're important. Talk to them about other products and services that you offer. See if you can't cross-sell them or resell them. They're perfect people to get testimonials from, case studies from, and again, the referrals. So really, the whole process is about getting the prospect's attention and getting them to your website, pulling them through the sales cycle by providing relevant information. That's going to allow you to make more sales, get more money coming into the company, and get you a better return on your marketing investment. Okay, Amy, do we have any questions?
We do. First question, How do you identify your audience and their preferred channels?
Well, I think I mentioned you really do need to look at the database, see what products or services they're interested in. You need to make sure you segment your database so you know the different groups of people that you're talking to. But surveys are a great way to do it. You can also ask 2 or 3 questions on the end of a landing page. So you're asking for their name and their email. What's your preferred method of communication? Would you like us to email you, direct mail you? Do you want to hook up on social media? Here's our little social media icons. If you ask, they will tell you. It's amazing.
Okay. Next question, does inbound marketing work for both B2B or business-to-business and business-to-consumer companies?
Yes, and I think I touched on that. It absolutely does. The methods and the strategies are a little bit different. Maybe the platforms that you want to be on social media are going to be a little bit different. But yes, blogging works, email works, drip works, driving people to the website, all of that works no matter what product or service, if it's business to business or business to consumer.
Okay. How do I know what CTAs or calls to action to use?
You know what? One trick that I always use is talking to my customers. I get one of my best customers and I say, okay, when you were looking at the beginning for my product or service, what could I have given you? A checklist, a tip list, a workbook, a white paper. What would have really helped you in your decision-making process? And then when you were ready to buy, how were you selecting vendors? What would have really helped you at that point? And again, at the bottom of the funnel, if you ask 2 or 3 customers, they'll give you great ideas. Also, interviewing your salespeople about what their prospects or customers are requesting is another way to figure out what you should be offering.
Okay. This one's kind of related, but I'm not a writer. How or where do I come up with content? Kind of answered that one a little bit, but
Yep, and there's a trick that we use. We interview you. If you need help with content, for instance, we would interview you. You can write a blog post. You can tweak that and turn it into an email that you're going to send in your drip campaign. You can post that blog post out on social media. And you can also take maybe 4 blog posts, turn them into 4 articles, and put them in your monthly newsletter. So with one idea, you're able to disseminate the information across multiple channels, and that's a trick. There also is a cool website called Scoop It, and we'll put that link when we send you the recording. They have all kinds of good content ideas. The other thing is to look at the competition. What are they talking about? Look at your industry. Okay, if you're in safety, what's OSHA doing? Look around on the web and see what's trending, see what hot topics there are, and talk to those things.
Perfect. You actually answered the next question in that answer, which was, can I reuse content across channels? Which is absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll be crazy if you don't.
Save yourself some time and energy.
Absolutely. Don't make your brain work that hard.
Okay, so the last question is, so what's my first step to get started in inbound marketing? Where do I start?
What a great question. You really need to start by looking at what you're doing now, what's working, what's not working, and then understanding some of the things we talked about today. It's very confusing. All of this online stuff is new. The buzzword inbound marketing is new, and it can be very overwhelming. You don't have to do every single thing out there just because it's out there. We're offering, if you would like to do a 30 to 60-minute brainstorming session with me, my email address and phone number will be on the slides when we send them to you. No obligation. Just toss around some ideas and brainstorm about how you could, in fact, get started.
Perfect. Okay. I think with that, we're going to thank everyone for attending, let you all get back to work. Hopefully you found today's session helpful and you came away with a few ideas or information that you can get started and implement into your marketing efforts right now. Like Stacia mentioned, her contact information will be on the slides that we send out to you, so feel free to contact her if you have questions or are looking for some ideas. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.